Привет, Yulia. Cocktail. Today is Saturday around lunchtime here in San Francisco. Actually, it's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 10 minutes to 1. I hope you're getting well as we're advancing forward into the future. Today's message, I want to talk to you about what's on my mind, and that is division. I'm not so much concerned about the concept of united. It's kind of funny. We stand and divided we fall. That's not the kind of division I'm talking about. The type of division that's on my mind right now is the main division that I see that is leading this Star Wars that is actually taking place here and now today. And that is the division between the Eastern and Western Hemisphere. Now, what I see going on in the Eastern Hemisphere is more symbolic to the journey that we take in life. It is the birthplace of Jesus Christ, and it also is a very rich land. It's the richest land when you look at the entire region, the Europe, the whole Eastern Hemisphere. It's the richest. It's richer than the Western Hemisphere as far as the land and the natural resources. So that's the symbol I get with the Eastern Hemisphere. Now I'm look over to the Western Hemisphere. I see a big play on alternatives. Okay, so I began to look at, well, if in the Eastern Hemisphere I see life's journey, the calling that we have in this life on earth, you can see it being fulfilled in the steps of Christ that he took within the region. And on the Western Hemisphere, you find a play on alternative. Then I began to ask the question, well, what's the alternative to a rich lifestyle? And the answer I find is rob, steal, and cheat, which is what we find as is the premises of the U.S.-led Star Wars. It's based off of petroleum, natural resources, alternative forms of energy. Okay, but what is actually the stage that we are in before I actually begin to promote my alternative to the to the division of the Eastern and Western Hemisphere in terms of what should be the focus. The thing that I want to look at is where at what stage we are in terms of this U.S.-led Star Wars and the human, well, not necessarily, yes, the human impact in a different light. And where we are right now is the U.S. has put sanctions on Iran, which is basically the biggest supplier of Chinese oil. Now, what does that do in the Chinese markets? Well, it puts the whole Chinese market in a bad position where they have to find alternatives. Okay. Also, you could see what was going on prior to this these sanctions, and that is the currency battle that we've seen between the yuan and the U.S. dollar, the conflicts that actually led and spilled over into the World Trade Organization. So we can actually see that this division between the Eastern and Western Hemisphere in terms of natural resources, lack of natural resources, alternatives to lifestyles and things of that nature is already starting to find its way to creeping in the Chinese market, so having an impact in the Chinese market. Okay, now what I believe is should be the focus when we look at the world at large, and that is a united, let's just say a world that is united on a one common front, and that's when I began to see that front that we are all as one world united on should be the northern latitudes. Okay, that is the front that is between the tundra and the temperate forest, which when we look at civilization, we're looking at terrestrial biomes. Okay, this is known as Target. and that's the Russian word for this northern latitude regions. The whole region between the tundra and the temperate forest is forms the taiga, and that is the front that we should be focused on. And I believe that we really need to give the Russian government, in conjunction with its foreign relations throughout Europe, the Middle East, and Eurasia, to really promote the lead on how natural resources should cover the world. Because the tundra is the greater region in terms of the northern latitudes, because human beings don't actually dwell there. Okay, but when it becomes to where humans dwell, then you become the temperate forest. Okay, which is the largest terrestrial biome right now. Now, once we conquer this division between the eastern and western hemisphere, then we can focus on building greater terrestrial biomes, because we have the Middle East that's laying bare, okay, and it's fully inhabited, but it needs to become a forestation of all living things. You see, and we can do that with what's already in place. So those are my thoughts today. Division, and right now, the capitalists are trying to use the eastern and western hemisphere as a form as a form of a front to unite on, which is like a split orange. So, uh, the northern latitudes, if we can focus on that, we'll see Keystone, which makes this battle worth everything. When I say Keystone, I'm talking about the oil pipes right in Calgary, right on top of Calgary, Canada, that the U.S. is refusing again to take part of its own natural resources. They're so busy on finding alternatives to living within a rich land under a law, which is basically there to prevent us from turning into aliens, from the spread of bacteria in the bloodline, which is probably going to lead into more thoughts for tomorrow. I hope you're doing well again, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.